In a world of dungeons, dragons, and devious DMs, 4 adventurers set out to save the mysterious land of Blaelflow.
I'm Frank Bunty, Dwarven Paladin and all-round badass. I like nothing more than righting wrongs and smiting evil.
I'm Bonarail, a half-elf rogue that'll rob you blind and mess you up.
I'm Lord Sugar, a human wizard noble. I'm rich, I'm better than everyone, and I set fire to everything.
I'm Draco Justice, Dragonborn Monk. For when justice calls, who will answer? I will. I'm Draco Justice.
And I'm Doddy, the resident DM. I'll be throwing everything at these guys, including the kitchen sink. Ooh, a mimic kitchen sink.
Nerd OD&D from the Nod Network. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else you get podcasts.
That's my cross to bear. And also my wife's.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast with your fabulous host, Greg.
And Dan.
And Dave.
Beautiful.
And there we go, sir. We have finally smashed it out and now it's time to say goodbye. I just don't think we can beat that now. That was
that intro.
Just perfect.
The intro where no one talked over each other. See, the thing is, you know, it's only when we use Skype that's a problem, isn't it? Because you've got that little bit of a delay and it's difficult. No one really knows who's going to talk next. You can't watch someone's face. But I was getting really excited, you know, it was going to be over. So, you know, this coronavirus thing, it was so close to being out of it, and we could actually meet up and do a podcast in person. But then, no, apparently not. Apparently it's 10 times worse than it was, and we're all going back into lockdown. Yay!
Yep.
Except for me, who's coming out of lockdown.
Coming out of one. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, we had our meeting today at 12:30, Wales, and they've said, "Yeah, carry on doing what you're doing."
Oh, shit! You're in Wales.
Yeah, I'm in Wales, mate. So
I completely forget that.
So I'm all good. We're having our restrictions, well, our lockdown lifted. Our shops and stuff are reopening from Monday, and we are having you're allowed to have your social bubbles back. So you know we can go and actually sit in Ash's mum's house and have a brew with her while we have all our and stuff. So we're good. So yeah, you guys just need to sort your act out over there and like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird. We spent a good sort of 10 minutes last week talking about poor old Reg being stuck in Wales, and now here we are. I was supposed to be going to Alton Towers on Sunday. It was a pass holder exclusive event, so they're only letting Merlin annual pass holders in. So it was going to be nice and quiet. You know, it's going to be a fun little day out, and now that's closing.
Well, yeah, we were going to go on Thursday. But they said to us, don't bother.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right, okay. Because we were going to go for, obviously, Oliver's birthday. We were like, yeah, this would be really fun. Because obviously they cancelled the fireworks, but, you know, they still got, like, CBeebies Land and stuff. But they were like, yeah, just don't bother. Wednesday, that's it. I was like, oh. Which is weird, because Alton Towers we were chatting about. I watched Top Gear randomly, part of it last night when it was on BBC.
Yeah.
And it was the season finale. And they were racing cars around Alton Towers, but not like
electric
around the
cars.
outskirts, but literally going from like ride to ride. They had like a map out, and there was 3 cars, and it was like a race to get from one end like to the other, but yet weaving in and out of like the Smiler and stuff. And it looked awesome, just ragging through the queues. I was like, I'd love to do that. Just when it's closed, just get my car and just be like, just smash it out. Just literally rag it around, like all the queue parts, and it's like it's just nice to see Alton Towers again. I was like, I missed that place.
So basically, Alton Towers, when everything was shut for months, was just like, how are we going to make money? And then, fortunately, Top Gear came a calling.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with theme parks, right, is the power they have to make you miss them unbearably at times. Like I've not been to Alton Towers for a while, but you talking about it, I'm like, damn, I want to go to Alton Towers, and I can't. And a key example of this is my phone, like many phones in the world, has a way of reminding you and saying, here's some featured photos from years gone by or whatever. And 3 years ago, I went to Florida with my good friend Dan. And
Not me.
Dan, sorry, my other good friend Dan, apologies. And we, just 2 of us, we went to Florida, went to Orlando, to all the parks. I say all the parks. Universal. We didn't do Disney. It was too expensive. Anyway, but I'm getting all these photos saying 3 years ago you were in Florida. 3 years ago you were eating chicken wings and drinking Miller Lite. 3 years ago you were at Universal City Walk, and I'm like, fuck you, the past. Fuck you and your memories. Because I really would. I don't want to be in Florida right now because America's a hellish dumpster fire.
I do. I want to be in Florida right now.
What, the day before U.S. Election Day? No, sir. Country will be on fire in a week.
I don't care. It's not.
And that's
going to
not a
affect
metaphor, really, is
Universal.
it? Will actually be on fire.
Disney. It's going to be so good. Like people, like I was showing Ash before, people queuing up this morning, from like 5:15 in the morning to get into Universal. Like there was 200 cars to get into the Universal car park this morning. Kids were so excited, and some guy literally posted about an hour ago. And it was just saying something stupid like, so we got into the park at 6:15, managed to ride Hagrid's Forbidden, like all the Harry Potter ones, twice before 7 o'clock in the morning. And then they did the rest of Universal and Islands Adventure, both sides, did all the rides twice, and then went to Animal Kingdom in Disney and did all their rides in one day. And I was like, oh my God, I'd love to do that. I just fucking love that.
But the journey from Universal to Disney is like a good 45 minutes to an hour, isn't it? It's huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's just goes to show how like dead it is in these parks at the minute. You can literally just go on and be like, yeah, go on, I'll do that. As long as you're not going another weekend, you're absolutely buzzing.
Yeah. That's one of those things where it's like the park experience. Like, I'm a grown man. I'm a 35-year-old man. I go to those parks and I am living the experience. You know what I mean? Like, we had the whole discussion about the smell of the Harry Potter toilets. I stand by the point that it's the best smell, and it makes me think of holiday. But it's that wandering around the parks, wandering around Hogsmeade and all that kind of shit. I could just do that. Like, when I go to those parks, I don't have to like go crazy and go everywhere. I can just wander around drinking butterbeer all day, and I will be fine. I will be totally fine. And it's weird because I can't say the same for anywhere else, really. That kind of gives you that kind of feeling of I can just chill here, spend all of my money, and it's never a problem. Like, I've never spent $8 on a hot dog and been like, ooh, that's a bit expensive. I'm just like, yep, give me that. I mean, spoilers, I don't eat meat anymore, and therefore Buffalo Wild Wings, park turkey legs, they're all ruined for me forever.
But holidays, you're not allowed to eat meat.
Would you not just be like, I've just been dying for those chicken wings or that turkey leg? Would you not just be like, I'm just going to, I've nipped the toilet and I'm away from everyone else?
Are you off meat for health reasons, or are you off meat because you like fluffy little animals?
Maybe a bit of both. More the second one. I've got no medical reason to stop eating meat apart from I don't want bowel cancer. But who does, right? But no, I've given up. And it's that kind of thing of like, if I have like, people talk about having a cheat day, like here on my birthday, and I was like, oh, it's my birthday, maybe I'll have something. No, because I'll know and I'll feel shitty about it. But one thing that's America does have, I say America, Florida, because Florida is a weird place. But everywhere you go in Florida, they have this spinach and artichoke dip. And it's so unhealthy because it's mostly cheese, but also a bit of spinach and a bit of artichoke.
Spinach and artichoke, but it's cheese.
But it's mostly cheese. And it is the tastiest damn thing I've ever had. And it's so bad for you. But in a lot of places, it was kind of like the vegetarian option, it seems. Like, they don't do salads in Florida. It seems to be like you get the meaty thing just minus the meat a bit on the side here. That's what you get. But when I went with my wife and others a while ago, she wasn't big on that. But I was like, I could just eat that dip all day. But I had chicken wings at the time, so I wouldn't. But now if I went back, it's all that dip.
Chicken wings, man.
Wow.
Just like, I remember when we went Hooters and I had like the unlimited chicken wings from Hooters, just trying all the varieties.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they were just immense. But I think one of my favorite places and most underrated, like when you see on all the Orlando pages, everyone mentions the same like 6 places to go and eat. But we went to a place called Teak Neighborhood Steak and Grill, which Dan had the challenge burger, which was just phenomenal. But my burger was just damn tasty. And it's Cinco de Mayo when we went as well. And we just got loads of beers for like, I think it was like 5 beers for $5 or something stupid, wasn't it? And
Hang
it
on,
was,
which Dan were you with? Were you with this Dan or my friend
this
Dan?
Dan. I was with
Okay.
this Dan this time.
Okay.
Yeah, other Dan is not just a Florida hussy. It's not like, who's taking me this time?
I think he'd go with you. I think if you asked him, he'd be like, I don't care who you are. Let's go to Florida.
Anyone
I'm pretty
asking
sure
for
I'd do the
Florida
exact
on
same
there.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some random person came up to me and was like, "Do you want to go to Florida?" I'm like, "Yes, please."
I'll give you his number after the podcast.
Appreciate that.
No, it's that thing of like, I was a fool when I was there a few years ago. It may have been 3 years ago actually. I signed up for the Buffalo Wild Wings like app that they had, like a loyalty thing, so that I could get all the deals and stuff while I was there. And I never unsubscribed from the mailing list. So I still regularly get emails from Buffalo Wild Wings in Orlando, Florida, saying, "Here's our great deals this week." And I'm like, A, I don't eat chicken anymore. B, I live 3,000 miles away. What? Stop. But the thing is, I can't bring myself to unsubscribe because I quite enjoy the emails because I'm like, I want to think about how good it was to eat chicken wings, drink Miller, and watch college football. And it's like, I can't do that anymore. Live vicariously through my email inbox.
Yeah.
Nothing weird about that, right?
No, I do the exact same thing because I get the notifications from Tilted Kilt, and they don't even have a Tilted Kilt in Florida anymore.
Shit,
That's
Tilted
now
Kilt
officially closed. But I still get the things like, "Hey, it's your birthday. Have a burger on us." I'm like,
Yeah, me too.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah.
And like, but then it's weird because if anyone sees you open up the email in work, you're sitting there like, "Oh yeah, it's just literally women in little tartan skirts going like, it's your birthday burger." I'm like, "Oh, this isn't seedy, I promise. It's a restaurant in
I
Florida."
think it's a little bit, but yeah, not as much
yeah.
as it might initially seem.
There was a great place in Universal City Walk. I say there was. I'm sure it's still there. It was a place called Cowfish.
Yes, it's still there.
It's still there. Fantastic. And it was the first place I ever had fried pickles. And goddamn, it awoke something in me
Rickles.
that I never knew. It was the greatest thing.
Well, I'm vegetarian.
Exactly. I'd eat my body weight in
Pickles
pickles.
and cheese and artichoke dip. That is a hearty meal, David.
Well, to be fair, the nachos from Margaritaville.
Yes, Margaritaville nachos, the mountain of nachos.
I remember we ordered them as a starter because we were like, yeah, didn't we? I think we ordered them as a starter. And we were like, we'll get a main in like once we've eaten, we'll have like watch the show and stuff. And then it came, and I think we ordered that and something else, didn't we? And it was just like we all looked at the nachos and like, there's enough there for 3 of us. Why did we get 2 things? It was just ludicrous how big they were. But damn, were they tasty.
The weird thing is, like when I was there with my wife, it was hard finding veggie friendly stuff because it's not really what Florida holiday goers are looking for on the whole. So it was quite a challenge to find things that were remotely healthy and also not chicken mostly. But one place that really surprised us, it was the Bob Marley themed restaurant on City Walk, which the name of which at the moment escapes me, but I will find it.
It was just Marley's, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
You could be right. Let us find out. A
tribute to freedom.
Thank you. That's it, because it's named after some of his music. But it was, a fantastic restaurant with this amazing, like only in Florida could you get away with this, I think, where it was like you went into the building and you had this indoor restaurant, but then there was a courtyard, like in the restaurant that had no roof, which is where the stage was for live music. So you were kind of like in the restaurant, but you were also outside if you wanted to be. And it had great food and really good vegetarian options and really
everything was made from cannabis.
I think I went super basic though and had like jerk chicken, which is the most utterly like boring white person basic thing you can have at a Jamaican restaurant is jerk chicken.
Tasty, though.
But it was fucking good. It was real good. But yeah, such a random place. Like I didn't even realize. I went past it. I'm like, oh, interesting.
It does surprise me how nice the food is in the restaurants in Universal and in Disney. I think because you just expect it to be, because you have like theme park food here and you're like, yeah, it's just like a burger. And you're like, yeah, it's like the cheapest, nastiest, not greatest burger. And then you go over to there and you're like, go on then, I'll just have like whatever, like a hot dog. And the hot dog is like, damn, that's a good hot dog. and then you'll have like sit down. We had like jambalaya and like steak, and it was just fucking divine. And I'm like, holy shit, this food is amazing. It's so good, and it's a little bit pricey, but it's a theme park in it, so you expect it to be pricey, but you don't expect the quality to be good. And it just surprises me how good the actual quality is. We were saying before, I'd love to just go for a week to Epcot and just literally just do different country every day instead of just doing like a quick mini trip, going like, let's try a quick mini thing from there, and go around the world in Disney.
That's the problem, isn't it?
The
limitation is your stomach.
Yeah, especially during Food and Wine Fest, because Food and Wine Fest, like we smashed back as many places as we could do. Like we looked, and you'd never, on any other given circumstances, spend over $250 just on food for like 2 hours. Like it's a crazy amount to spend on food, but we did it not caring. Obviously, it was a honeymoon, so like fuck it, let's go. But the food was just like, oh my days, and because it's all cooked by proper chefs, not just like add in a fucking newspaper to be like, yeah, we need some chefs down here, and it's like a college student. They're actually proper chefs there, aren't they? That actually do.
Yeah, they brought in stuff. They brought in someone from a proper restaurant or something.
You have like amazing South African like char grilled gubbinses, and then like your beef bourguignon from like fucking France, and the food was just to die for. It was so fucking good. And it just like that pops up in my memories because all I ever seem to do is talk about Florida, like we have done for the past 25 minutes. I'll just share a story of it on Facebook to be like, this time, like 4 years ago, 3 years, like 3 months and 2 days, I was eating this fucking 2 foot long hot dog. I'm like, I miss it. And so I just see it and be like, oh, damn, I miss that. Damn, I want that. So now I'm living through other people that get to go. And it's good.
It's allowed.
Yeah.
You're allowed to talk about it as much as you like, Reg.
That's it.
We all want to.
It's just acting upon it, which is the thing you're not allowed to do. That's the problem. Just because we've got bring it back to work ethic in a way, into normality of UK life. There's a thing called IR35, which is like the Inland Review Regulation Order, which is coming in, which means all contractors basically have a limited company set up have to pay like an astronomical amount of insurance in order to carry on like maintaining a limited company. Or you can either become a permanent employee, or you can become go through like what the class as an umbrella company, which means you have like a third party that looks after all your national insurance, and they pay you just so you don't be seen as a contractor, so to speak. It always looks like you're an employee of someone because they're trying to phase out contracting over here in the UK. So what happens in our line of work is we obviously give these people recommendations of who you should go through if you're going to carry on contracting as like as a umbrella company overhead. And for each one you refer, you get a bit of a nice little paycheck that comes from it. But with IR35 happening in April, that means every single contractor we have on our books has to physically go through this umbrella company. They come through, and I was looking the other day, and I was like, "Holy shit! I've got just shy of 200 guys that are going to be coming through as a umbrella company person. Each one of those comes with a nice little whack. So I'm like, that could literally be my Florida holiday paid for like everybody, not just me, but like, you know, my family, including like Ash's parents, my mum and dad, maybe even my brother and his kid.
My family, Dan.
Like, yeah,
my other friend Dan.
Other Dan.
Other Dan, the people listening to this. This is like everybody come on board. I just hope everyone doesn't go, well, fuck it, I'm just giving up now. Because I'm like, I've got all the money in the world I've got nothing. And then living back through my memories again.
We're all here talking about going to Florida. And Sean actually is going to Florida. Oh, well, actually.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. That's not a pleasant situation to be in. I've been ridiculously lucky in that this year I've been on 2 foreign holidays. One, I got to go to Japan literally the week before the UK went into lockdown and Japan shut its borders. And the other one, well, a while before lockdown, but at least before sort of it started to go into, high risks and low risks and stuff, I went to Denmark. So I don't know how I've managed to do it. I know all these people who are like booking holidays and they keep getting cancelled. Sean's there on the bubble. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, it must be so difficult for him. But I think the thing we've come to realise is, Dan, if you book Florida, there's a chance
Yes.
everybody's going to get to go.
Exactly. That's it. Maybe that's the case.
So if you don't book, then Sean won't be going.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes perfect sense.
But I hope he does get to go because I've got a list of demands.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it's that thing, isn't it? Where it's like, I think that you managed to time it down, so you went on your trips like just in between lockdowns.
Yeah.
Somehow you perfectly got it. But it's the thing where you can't. You don't know, right? Like theoretically, the English lockdown is going to end first week in December. Sean's meant to be traveling on Christmas Eve, and so he's got 3 weeks there in between where anything could happen.
Yeah.
And as I pointed out, America could be on fire. So, not that we don't want to get political, but we have to address the fact that America could end this week. Like this could be the end of the United States, and then
Is
no
this
one
like
gets to go to Florida.
the whole Y2K virus all over again?
Yeah,
It could be. But actually a genuine issue this time.
yeah, it's worrying, isn't it? But you never know.
A little
We'll
bit.
see.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens in a matter of days. But no, I am. This is the thing, right? Like, you don't want to get into politics and stuff, so I'm not going to. But it's weird how there's so much of it right now. Like the U.S. election, the lockdowns over here. You got political parties going, you should lock down. And one's going, don't lock down. And some saying, lock down now, lock down then. And it's like, fucking, I just want to go in. I understand when people switch off. Like, I get it. Like, I've always kind of thought, everyone's got like a responsibility to stay engaged. And now I'm like, you know what? I just want to like turn everything off. just be in my little bubble on my own and not listen to any of that stuff. Apart from not network podcasts. That's the one thing I want to listen to.
I mean, that gives you like a year's worth of audio goodness to listen to.
Indeed. Months upon months of content back to back. Maybe everyone else should do that too. Who knows? But
That would be delicious.
Can
It's
we,
good for you, because I don't think I've ever watched the news like ever. It did something, obviously this is going to sound really weird, but it doesn't interest me knowing what's happening at all. So I'm always this person that I found out lockdown through like the social media pages. I found out, obviously, that this presidential election thing is happening in 2 days because you just said to me, you don't want to go to Florida in 2 days because that's when the election's happening. I have no idea what's going on in life. If it doesn't happen in my household, I don't really care.
Do you know?
I think
Do you know
it's
what?
glorious living like that.
Do you know what's great though? I don't. I avoid the news at all costs. I avoid most news websites, but I'll pimp out someone else's YouTube channel. What's it? Philip DeFranco.
Yes.
So the Philly D show that he does like 4 days a week, where he just talks for 20 minutes on stuff that's going on, gives me everything I need to know about the world, because it's always got something that he's talking about that is incredibly relevant. A lot of the time at the minute it is the election. I'll give him that, but there's so much that I've learned about what's going on in a genuinely interesting, informed and unbiased way as well, mixed in with a bit of humor as well. So something like that is perfect. It's just 15 to 20 minutes every couple of days to be able to watch something and go, oh, okay, so that's going on. Oh, look, Trump said that sort of stuff.
yeah, I rely on news updates from my phone. It pops up and goes, this thing happened. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll look at that. But when my in-laws tend to watch the news religiously, as many people of that generation would do every day. I can't deal with that. But when they come to visit, the expectation is that they'll get to watch the news. And of course, I'm a good son-in-law, so I make sure that happens. But it means that whenever they come to visit, there's more news in my house than is ever in. So all the updates, all the updates, all the bulletins. I'm more tied in than ever before, and I can't stand it. I do not want to know what's going on because most of the time it's awful. And I understand social media bubbles more than ever because when I'm in a bubble, I mean, even my particular social media bubble is getting a bit annoying because I am somewhat left-leaning and a lot of my friends are too. But as anybody who knows anything about politics, the left likes to eat itself. So there's factions and infighting in there as well. So even in my little safe little social media bubble, I've got people going off here and there with shit that I don't agree with. So it's like, I can't get a break. I put the news on, it's terrible. I go on Facebook, it's terrible. So I don't know what to do, apart from turn everything off. But
turn everything off and play WoW.
Yeah, that would
no
be great.
politics in WoW, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, we try not to. But while we are talking about WoW, guys, nice little segue.
Tie it in, I like it.
I'm gutted to inform you all that it's been another year where Reg has been unsuccessful in achieving its fucking headless awesome amount.
Really?
It is now over. However, when I did log in yesterday, the 1st of November, to just see if there's any chance I could do one more go with it, and I couldn't. I got an achievement for logging in during WoW's 16th anniversary.
Wow.
So 16 years it's been going for, and there's a little party quest line. You get some fireworks and stuff to play with. And they announced the the expansion pack date now. So Shadowlands is officially coming out on November the 23rd, which is awesome. So on November the 10th, so a couple of days after this comes out, they are putting in all the sort of the pre-expansion pack events where like the Scourge are going to be like just raiding your actual strongholds in your home, and like Stormwind and Orgrimmar and stuff like that. And it's going to just be like huge, massive battles just kicking off randomly throughout the whole event. And it looks and sounds glorious. So it's going to be a really good time to invest in a game of Wowage if anybody's interested.
Well, Blizzard do a good event. Doesn't matter what property it is, they do a good event. But speaking of events, Reg, speaking of events,
Not to move us off from World of Warcraft too quickly, but
no, I never would. However, in 5 days' time, it's N7 Day.
ooh,
Now, BioWare.
This is why you were so eager to come on tonight's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Dan were like, we don't really fancy doing one this week. And you're like, I am fucking podding.
I am
okay,
on this.
Calm down.
So, BioWare haven't done anything for N7 Day for a while because there's not really been anything to do, to celebrate, right? So, interestingly, on the 30th of October, a few nights ago, Mark Meir, also known as Commander Shepard, the male version, if that's how you choose to play the game, tweeted that a number of the cast and developers were going to be getting together, socially distant, I presume, for an N7 Day event. And we're talking the primary cast, including Jennifer Hale and Raphael Sbarge, big names, and development team, for an event. They've not said what the event is, just that they're getting together for something. And so I have been desperate, as I'm sure listeners and you guys for definite are aware, for a Mass Effect remake.
I wasn't aware of this, mate.
I know. I'm very low key about it. I'm very low key about it. I don't really go on about it. I keep it to myself. But the rumor mill has gone insane because, of course, there was the leak that wasn't a leak a couple months ago, and then there was like the listings in game pre-orders that then got pulled because it wasn't a thing, and all this back and forth, right, about the fact that there could or couldn't be, and no one actually knows if there is. But the fact that they're having an event on N7 Day featuring, a good chunk of the main cast and key developers of the property. Are we going to get it? Are we going to get it? Are we finally going to get it? Is it finally going to happen? Am I getting my hopes up here?
Is it just going to be like a script reading round table and just like a little bit of a documentary about it? Either way,
the thing is, the game came out in 2007. 2007 that game came out. So it's not like it's like a milestone anniversary or something. 13 years since it came out. It's not like it's happened to coincide. It might be 10 years since Mass Effect 2, but it's not like it's coinciding with something specific. It just happens to be this year they're getting together on N7 Day, which is, yeah. So I say, rumor mill's gone crazy. I personally have gone crazy because it feels like it's going to happen, and if it does,
I for the first time in a while feel quite confident that it is going to happen, and if it doesn't, they're stupid.
Because it's just, if they did it, like, it's a license to print money, because they know that everyone who's played it before is going to buy it all over again. Hell, I bought the game like 3 times in my life. I'll buy it again. I don't give a shit. I'll keep buying this game over and over again. But it's the thing where they came out with that and said that there was going to be an event, and let me find the actual tweet. Let me read the man's words. So he says that we join a Mass Effect castmates: Jennifer Hale, Raphael Sparge, Ali Hillis, Courtney Taylor, Steve Bloom, Kimberly Brooks, Alex Walton Reagan, like the whole main cast.
It's gotta happen on it.
Stay tuned for the link. Saturday, November 7th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So, listen, Mark Meir and team, give me that game.
Oh, it's a Saturday, so you're off as well, aren't you? So you'll actually be able to just literally watch that screen just non-stop.
I quite like that someone's first response to it was someone saying, "Is it finna time to announce the Trilogy remaster? You can't hide from me forever." Which, honestly, I can't work. There isn't anything else that it could be, surely. There's nothing else that it would be. But we'll
How
see.
about a new Mass Effect mobile card battle game?
Oh, Jesus, don't do that to me, Reg. Don't, because that's
Mass
so
Effect
possible.
Battle Royale.
No, don't, because that's so possible. It could happen, and I'd be so sad.
Yeah, I would be, but at the same time, like you said, it's EA as well. So
They do like money.
I feel like, all these websites, for the last couple of years, there's all these rumors that pop up that there's a website that's put up a Mass Effect remaster trilogy for pre-order, and then everyone thinks, oh, that's it, that's the leak, and it's actually going to happen. But it's just a website trying to get traffic to their own site, right? It never happens. I feel like now it kind of might be true, but I think that's the second time that a company has faked a pre-order. Only ever happened twice. Once, multiple times with Mass Effect, and the other time is when Game pretended that Shenmue 3 was going to happen and put a pre-order code in their pre-order books back when me and Reg worked there.
Silly
To wind Reg up. I guarantee that our boss got in touch with someone or went to the game conference or whatever and happened to bump into the person who deals with pre-orders and said, right, do us a favour, stick Shenmue 3 into this book. Because there's nowhere else they could have got that information from.
And I also got told, Reg, can you please stop pre-ordering copies of Shenmue 3?
Oh, they were asking for trouble there. That's
the sheer scale. Everyone who got served, whether they wanted it or not, found a free pre-order on their receipt. And when it was dead in work, I would just pre-order Shenmue 3 repeatedly.
Stick through a couple of dozen there you go.
Every day you'd have a minimum of about 40 to 50 pre-orders minimum a day. And we had that skew for this is how annoying I was back in the day, and thinking about it now, it makes me cringe. My best mate Dave, his cousin's got married, and I put the skew in their wedding book to pre-order it because it become a running joke with them as well, to be like, so where are you going to put the snacks? Are you going to get it on the tattoo and stuff? Is that now your PIN number for your bank card? And I was like, I'm just going to put it in the wedding book. They'll find it funny at the time, but now looking back, when we look back through our wedding book, oh, these are all really nice notes, and there's a lot of penises being drew in it. They'll be like, the Shenmue 3 never came out on the Xbox. That's really irritating, Reg. Yeah, sorry. But I got told, Reg, we have over 4,000 pre-orders for Shenmue 3. Can you please
just from your store?
Yeah, just from your code. it was from no one else's code. It was literally just my log-on code. It was like, you just need to stop this now. I was like, okay. But like you said, it's got to come from somewhere. It can't be. It's obviously not higher up. It just be some company that's going like, right, shit. How do we get traffic? How do we get some interest to go for it that way through? How are we going to please Dave Olsen? Right. Tell you what, we'll all put this tweet together and say we're all getting together just to make him go.
It's that thing where it's so silly, right? Like, and this is the thing with narrative video games. Okay, they all have a story. They all have an ending. They all have it all mapped out and all done. And yet, you feel when you play a good one, you feel like you're in control. You feel like you have made that happen, despite the fact that it's already set to happen a certain way, and that's just the way it is. And that's not me being cynical. That's just, it's already written, so it's already going to happen, right? But the fact that a game can have the kind of power where I know what happens in the Mass Effect series. I know which characters survive. I know which characters you can romance. I know all of that. I played it a lot. But it's the fact that the story was so good that it leaves me thinking that maybe I missed something because there is so much of it. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, okay, I played my one playthrough of Mass Effect 2 was over 100 hours. Surely I didn't miss anything, right?
I would hope not. I would definitely hope not.
Yeah, but in my head, I'm thinking, well, there's so much in that game that maybe I did. Maybe I've got to play it again so I can find out what I missed after all that time.
Maybe you just spent 90 hours in the club on the Citadel, dancing with people.
Just dancing, just getting my dance on. But it's that thing of it's the power that it has. Where I'm sure you were the same with Shenmue. Like, you knew how that story went. You knew what was going to happen in that story and who the characters were going to interact with. But you go back and you play it because you're like, there's more to this. There's more to this that I've not seen. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing where they release a remaster. They say it's going to cost £100. I'm going to give them my money on day one because I'm playing that game again. And I'm going to enjoy it. And I feel like I have to play FemShep because I never actually have. But because I've always played the male shepherd, that's just how I have to play it. So, yeah, I'm torn. And now I've got a kid, so I do not have time to be playing 100-hour playthroughs. But, I'll give it a try.
But you will.
There will be no sleep. There'll be no sleep. My wife will not understand. But she'll love me anyway, and it's okay.
Well, if it comes out on the Switch, then you can sit in bed and play it.
Oh, not on the Switch, Dan. I'm not a savage.
Ooh. Ouch.
Come on. As we all know, the Switch is great for fun games and family games, but it is not designed for, AAA titles. Come on.
Well, if you've got internet in your house, sir...
I'm glad you brought this up. I wanted to talk about this. This is really interesting, I thought.
I think this is an awesome idea of what they've done. They've started releasing certain titles, which you can now cloud stream on your actual Switch. So it started off with Resident Evil 7 back in Japan.
Oh, really?
They did it with Resi 7, and it worked really, really well. And I think they did it with Resi 3 as well. It's the only way you can play it. And now this has started working out really well. So as you've now seen, they've started doing it with other titles now as well. And they're going to be doing it with Hitman 3 as well when Hitman 3 launches.
Interesting.
And you're going to be able to do that. But I think it's an awesome feature for the Switch. And I can't believe
it's a nice idea. It's the big one at the minute is Control, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, the game. Yes.
Yeah. So the game Control, which was on PS4 and Xbox One, and you can download a free version that lets you play unlimited for up to 10 minutes. So you can test it out to see if it works well enough on your internet before you actually buy it. So there's that. So everyone can give it a go and see if it plays well. But yeah, it's a really interesting idea. But it also really doesn't that just highlight that the Switch is kind of underpowered.
But the thing is, they already know, and they've from day one they came out and said they're not competing with Sony and they're not competing with Microsoft because they know they haven't got the horsepower in it. What they've always wanted is accessibility and fun times for the family, and if that means
Nintendo are doing what they've always done, which is they're competing with themselves.
Yes,
because they bring out a new console with similar games, but maybe better versions of them, so that you go from playing a Zelda game on the Wii U to going to play it on the Switch.
And that's it. And this is the thing with the Switch. So the Switch are now trying this just so they can be like, hey, it turns out a lot of fucking people are buying the Switch and they're asking for these certain titles, and they're trying to do workarounds to see if there's any chance of getting certain titles to run. And this is just showing a showcase where you say, hey, look, we are future proof. So whereas you're going to be buying these Xbox Series X's and your PlayStation 5s, like, you won't be buying the Switch 2 at any point soon, because we're going to have the capability now where we'll be able to stream high quality games to your Switch.
And you know what? I rag on Nintendo, but ultimately, whenever I talk to anybody who's got a Switch, the one thing that every single person will say is it's a lot of fun to play. Like, every single person, without exception, if I say, oh, you got a Switch, what's it like? They go, it's a lot of fun to play. Like, it doesn't matter that it's not the most powerful. It doesn't matter that it doesn't have all the same titles. It doesn't matter about all that, because everyone who has one says it's a lot of fun. And ultimately, no matter how good your story is, no matter how good the graphics are, no matter how good the online multiplayer fucking battle royale mode is, if it's not fun to play, what's the point?
Well, I've put in over 100 odd hours into Divinity 2, Original Sin 2. I've put and that's a PC game that they were like, tell you what, let's try it on the consoles and stuff. And you can buy it on the PS4, but you can literally carry on your Steam game on your Switch and just play it on the Switch, and vice versa. And it's incredible. There's so many titles which are underrated that like you're saying, obviously, everyone, when you say name me 3 games on the Switch, you'll have Breath of the Wild, you'll have Mario Kart, you'll have Super Mario, what's the new one? Odyssey, Sunshine, Odyssey, or you'll have Smash Brothers. Those are the only games that people ever seem to care about. But there's a wealth of amazing titles on the Switch, and it is a very, very underrated console. It's a shame. I know, obviously, now it's like lockdown and stuff, and apparently the trying to get hold of them is an absolute nightmare for people still. But they're fucking brilliant. I mean, yes, as everyone says, they're a lot of fun to play because you can do fun games with them. But even as like a serious gamer, if you wanted to get into titles, there's a fucking wealth of amazing titles on there. Like, one of the games that isn't out on the Xbox or the PS4 and stuff, Octopath Traveler, which is an RPG by Square, and that is one of the most stunning titles. Like, it doesn't look incredibly amazing, but it's so fucking well done. The soundtrack to it is beautiful. The artwork is nice. The story is amazing. If that's out on the PS4 or the Xbox One X or Series X, wherever it's coming out now, like, damn, that would sell a fuck ton more than what it would do on the Switch. But I'm just happy it's on the Switch because it's such a goddamn amazing title.
You've got to look at the Switch as, for a lot of people, it's an additional console, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like what I think Microsoft are pitching the Series S as. Like, it's fair enough. If you're going to buy a PlayStation 4, why not also get one of these on the cheap? And it's the same for the Switch. It's your portable console. That's why they've discontinued 3DSs and they've not really announced anything new, because the Switch Lite is the new handheld.
That's true. Yeah.
But obviously they're going for what a lot of other kind of manufacturers try. Like, obviously Google's got Stadia, which is entirely streaming. Sony's got PlayStation Now, which is limited title streaming. So I don't know whether Apple Arcade now. Well, no, Apple Arcade that's not streaming of games, though, is it?
Sorry, I'm thinking about subscriptions. Sorry.
Yeah. I can't see myself wanting to buy something like a Stadia. I don't think necessarily that everyone's internet is that good and that stable enough to play something flawlessly yet. But to buy a console that's got all these great games, all these fun games, that can also give you the opportunity to maybe play some other games streaming, I like the idea of that. I think that's good. But whether it's, as an addition, I think it works well, but not quite there as an exclusive streaming device yet. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Fair enough. I think that's obviously why it's only a select titles coming out. I think
But it's nice to have the opportunity.
Feels that way as well. But yeah, god damn, it's a great opportunity. For it to come through, and I do enjoy it. And I love just seeing all these random references that are popping up the Switch. And fair play to Nintendo, for once they've just been like, yeah, fucking run with it. Like they gave up on the Wii U because obviously, they tried so many gimmicks and stuff and it didn't really work out that well. Seems as though they're sticking with the Switch, and it seems to be like doing
that's because
very well.
It's sold a lot. It's sold Wii numbers, but more than that now, hasn't it?
I was going to say, it's sold more than that now.
Yeah, and the actual software's selling, which is what didn't sell with the Wii. So
yeah, shame. While we're talking about older stuff, did you realise that Jet Set Radio is now 20 years old?
Jeez. 20 years old, and they still haven't re-released the sequel.
No, but it's just I can't believe how old it is. I was just going through my usual websites today, and it was saying like happy birthday because it came out in October the 30th in the US,
right?
Back in 2000, well, back in 2000 because I was 20 years old. Reg maths, yeah. So I was like, God damn. But then looking at it, it still fucking holds up good. And then when you were going through it all, I was like, even the Game Boy Advance game was amazing. To be fair, it's it's one of those titles that they've not done a bad game in that series. And it's rare to say that. It's awesome. And it's the one on the Game Boy still looks amazing. When you're watching it, all the videos and stuff coming through, it's just so good. And I do miss it so much. And I can't wait for them to do this new variation, like the spiritual sequel.
Yeah, that does look good. That's the thing I'm sort of latching onto. Because the Jet Set Radio Future, which was an Xbox launch title, I think is I mean, I love Jet Set Radio, but
Jet Set Radio Future is the
so
best
much
one.
better. It takes every little niggle with the original and fixes it and elevates it. It's amazing. And I really wish I could play that. I won't even play on my 360 backwards compatible, even though it was a backwards compatible game, because the only version I've got was a double disc version that came with Sega GT on it, which we got for free in work, didn't we, Reg?
We did.
But anyway,
so Jet Set Radio as well, because I went into a bit of a rabbit hole with this.
Okay.
How long do you reckon it took them to make Jet Set Radio?
From sort of initial development right the way down to getting released.
Yep.
I can imagine it was probably a Saturn game originally, right?
No. Nope.
Okay, is this going to go the opposite of what we think? I'm thinking it took like 7 years, but you're going to say like 8 months.
You were so close with that final figure. 10 months.
Wow.
10 months it took them to go like, I wonder what would be a good idea. How about we try this? Right, okay, let's ship it.
It's so weird when you think about games by comparison now. You think about, the one that comes to mind is Cyberpunk 2077. Like, that's been delayed now, 3 times? 4 times?
Yeah.
They keep pushing
Twitter is fucking brilliant. I feel so bad for their social media too.
Do you know what, though? I was talking to a few other friends about this who are, super stoked about Cyberpunk, because we used to play, show my nerd credentials here, we used to play the Cyberpunk 2020 role-playing game, the actual book and dice one as opposed to console-based. Nice. And one of my favorite role-playing games of all time because of the setting. So I'm excited for the game to see that, rendered in glorious 4K detail. But it's that thing where they put it back, and it was all set for the November release. And I said to these guys, I'm like, look, that's if it comes out then. Because I was talking about the Mass Effect remaster. Like if they did drop it on N7 day, which I think is wildly unrealistic, but if they did, I was like, well, I'd be getting that, obviously. And one of my friends was like, no, but Cyberpunk's coming out around that time, so they wouldn't release it then. And I'm like, Cyberpunk's not coming out then. They keep saying it's going to come out. It's not coming out then. And then it got pushed back again for a few weeks, and I was like, I told you. Yeah. That game is cursed. Like, it's going to be a great game when it eventually releases, but it's cursed.
Yeah. I think now it's going to hit that stage where no matter how good it is, it can't live up to this hype. I think everyone's going to blame the delays and everything. I think it'll be a great game, but I just don't think it's going to be able to live up to that hype.
But this delay, at least, if not the last couple, is to sort of iron out those problems, though, right?
Yeah, 100%. But a game that open world and that big, it doesn't matter how many times they delay this, they're not going to be able to fix everything. And there's going to be people now that are just going to be hunting out the bugs,
there already are.
Just to be like, you're a fucking moron, I can't believe you left this in. You delayed it 4 times.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not waiting an extra 28 days. I am not buying any of your games ever again now.
Yeah, and it's the people that give them death threats and stuff for delaying it. And like, this is what gives us bad names.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane. That anybody,
you mean gamers or humans?
Both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it is that thing of like people who, I mean, I've had this, I've had this debate a number of times regarding Star Wars fans, and the worst possible people who happen to be into these fandoms. And it's that thing, the idea of giving death threats to a developer, like, it's their job. It's their job. It's the job, and they've put years and years of work into it. They're not delaying it to piss you off. They're not doing it because they like the challenge of people ragging them on Twitter. Like, it's not. No one gets off on that. If they could release it on time, I think they definitely would.
There's a huge backlash online against developers putting crunch time on their staff. And calling out the ones that are doing that and saying it's not healthy. People doing like 80-hour weeks to try and get the game out, just delay it. And then suddenly it happens. A company which the rumor is that they put their people under pretty harsh crunch have gone, all right, let's have another month to make sure that it works flawlessly on all these systems. Mm-hmm. Surely you've got to give them a little bit of credit for that and go, okay, I can wait.
Because there is also that point, the idea that they're trying to get its release on as many platforms as possible, which makes a lot of sense. Like, that's kind of what you want to do when they're bringing out new consoles, is that you want to get your game all over the place. And people getting that whole thing about crunch time and stuff. Like, I agree that it's a problem for the developers that like bring staff on, working really, really hard, and then bin them all off when the game is done. That's wrong. But it's not unusual for places to have a period of time where the staff work really hard to get something out on time or whatever. I finished watching that a documentary on Disney Plus about the making of Frozen 2, which I realize is a bit of a curveball from what we're talking about. So I apologize.
It comes up quite a lot on this podcast, to be quite honest. More
That's
than
true,
you'd imagine.
Yeah, I think it does, isn't it? Sorry, that's probably my fault. But it's a fantastic documentary, and it's all about how in the last few weeks of development, they are working, 80-hour weeks. They're working 6.5 days a week, all that kind of stuff. But it's expected that that's what they're going to do to get it done in that sort of final stretch. And that's not seen as oh my God, Disney, you're so evil for making everyone work so hard. It's just seen as that's what places do when they've got deadlines and lots of work to do. And developing a game for so many different consoles with so much detail and depth in it, it's going to take time. Yeah. People got to chill, but they won't.
No. Although, speaking of games which get announced like stupidly long in advance, so Final Fantasy series obviously is renowned for this. So Final Fantasy 15 took a huge hit with that, because obviously that was Final Fantasy Versus 13 when it originally was first going to come out, and that got delayed countless times, changed its production team, changed everything about it. So then they were like, right, we're going to learn our lesson, and we're not going to announce anything like this again until we know we are ready to finally go with it and ship it. So Final Fantasy 16 is literally sort of coming out now. And that's
is it imminent?
It's coming out when it's coming out. They're teasing us now with loads more information of coming through. So I haven't got. This isn't by the way, here's a date for it. It's coming out tomorrow. No. Sort of thing. It's
coming out on N7 Day.
It's coming out on N7 Day to piss Dave off.
Oh, it would. That would piss me off.
But it comes with the greatest of news. So Final Fantasy protagonists always have the greatest of names.
That's true.
Okay.
So we have Squall, Tidus, Tifa, Cloud, Red 13, Sephiroth. Can anybody hazard a guess? I'll give you 2 guesses each for the name of the main protagonist.
If our
16.
if the way this podcast has been going is any indication, then he will be called Dan.
You are close.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Dave?
Nah.
Oh, damn.
You know one of these, Dan. You know one of these people. He's very dear and close to my heart. He even went on
Who's Steve?
vacation with us one time. Not Steve, no.
Clive.
Yep.
No, he's called Clive.
The game's main protagonist is Clive Rosfield.
Okay, two things wrong with that. One, I mean, it's Clive. That's ridiculous. Two, Japanese language doesn't have a V in it. They use a B, so he is Clive.
So he is Clive, and
Clive.
his siblings or his friends are Joshua and Jill. This trio could not be less Final Fantasy. Fucking
Clive, Joshua, and Jill.
They've got no like, oh come on guys, right? We've got this amazingly epic medieval backdrop. We've got the fantasy setting we've always like people have been clamoring for. We've got the huge behemoths. We've got the titans. We've got the fucking armies going. We need really strong. Let's get at it. Names Clive. Just fucking Clive. Just like.
That's a newsreader's name. That is not a Final Fantasy hero's name.
It's ludicrous, and I love it. I love it for the fact that when you look at the artwork for it, and he's got like the fucking devil arm from Devil May Cry, all fucking thorny and on fire, and a huge ass sword, and typical Final Fantasy look, and you think he's gonna have a really exotic, powerful name, Clive. It's just.
Do you know what though? There's something. I don't know. I think I'm kind of into it. I'm into the fact that he's got the most just straight up mundane basic name, but also looks like a terrifying Japanese RPG badass character.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing I love is back in the olden days, for obviously you had all these voice acted titles and stuff like with 7 and 8. So you'd rename your characters, so it wouldn't be Cloud and Tifa, it would be you and your best mates that play through it. So like, and if you didn't have enough mates, you'd make up, your teddy bears' names and stuff and put that in there. That my friend used to do, apparently, not me.
Oh yeah.
So now, if you fucking Clive, you wouldn't even have to do that anymore. You'd be like, oh, brilliant! I'm finally in a Final Fantasy game. It's just wonderful. I think it's glorious, and this is a day one purchase for me just on the name alone.
Yeah. Good old Clive.
Well, apparently it's so they're saying it was announced obviously back in September when they did their thing. The basic development's actually already been completed on it, so they're just doing a little tidbits and stuff to it. So they're revealing a huge event apparently early in 2021. So they're going to be like announcing everything then about what's going to happen. So if you remember originally on the PlayStation 5 teaser for it, when they're showing it on the thing, they were saying it's coming exclusively console to PS5 and PC. And now they've gone like, guess what, guys? We've scrapped the PC part. It's now only PS5 again now.
Wow.
So so it's going to be interesting to see what they're doing with this. I'm wondering if that's just. I'm contemplating if Sony are going, you know what, since you released most of your games with us anyway, let's just buy Square. And just, seeing as Microsoft have gone like, you know what, guys, fuck you, we've got Bethesda. They're like, yeah, it's brilliant, you've got, your Skyrims and all that, but tell you what, we'll buy the big boys. That's our Square Enix, and let's get all these fucking fantasy fans.
It's the thing, they don't really need to do that though, do they? You think about, you look at Microsoft, and you think about all their first party, like huge, like AAA games, and they haven't really got that many. It's always the exclusives are always better on the PlayStations. And half those companies that give them exclusive games, they don't even own.
No.
They just go, well, it's the PlayStation that sells worldwide. It's the PlayStation that sells in the East. So there's 50% of our market. Let's go with PlayStation.
I was thinking about the Microsoft Bethesda deal, and in my head, I had a number, and I was like, no, that's too much. I'll Google it and have a look. And no, I was right. $7.5 billion.
Oh yeah.
That's just Like in my head, I had made that number up, and it was much lower than that.
Well, it's the same amount that Disney paid for Marvel and Lucasfilm,
Jesus.
like put together, and that just seems mind-boggling.
I mean, you're putting a lot of eggs in one basket there. I know Microsoft's got a lot of money and all, but seriously, like, I mean, you look at the titles, right? And it's like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Wolfenstein, Quake. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good there, but are you going to recoup $7.5 billion with that? Given the pardon the pun here, but given the fallout from their online, efforts with Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76 that didn't necessarily take the world by storm. So are they going to? I mean, they're not even going to release the next Elder Scrolls game for what, another year or 18 months, like at least. So that's a long time to wait to make your money back.
It's a power play, isn't it? Really, I think they're fully aware they will never make that money back, but it'll stop any of that money going to Sony because when they started discussing it last month. Again, they spoke to Phil Spencer and whatnot, and Phil Spencer was like, "We've not yet decided if we're going to allow them to release next Elder Scrolls on the PlayStation 5." He was like, "Obviously, they've got that. Can't remember the name, the space one that they've done.
The Outer Worlds.
Not the Outer Worlds. No, they've announced a new space RPG.
Oh, is it Starfield? What is it called?
Yes, that'll do.
Yeah.
So they've announced that, and obviously because that's been announced as it's coming multi-platform, they've got to be like, right, okay, fine, it's come multi-platform. We haven't stated what the multi-platform is for that, though. It never once stated PlayStation. It stated multi-platform. So that could be PC, and it could be Xbox. Yeah. So we haven't decided who we're going to let have what yet. And I love that he's just so brash. He says, like, you know what, we're going to go by title basis. So we may say yes to, like a Fallout spin-off, like another 76 or whatever, but not an actual official numbered title. The same with, with like Doom and with Skyrim and stuff. The Elder Scrolls may never come to PlayStation 5, but the Elder Scrolls Blades, like the spin-off or like the card game stuff, that could come to the PlayStation. They get to choose what they want to do just to piss people off. And I think that is the reason why they've done it, because they know the fan bases are out there, and they'll just be like, "Come at us, and if you don't really come to us, we'll just start teasing you until you're like, you know what, yeah, fuck it, we'll jump ship. We're not having just their little crappy little spin-offs like Fallout Shelter and stuff on the PlayStation. I want the next Fallout." And if you can do that on a pay monthly deal and still get your PlayStation 5, why not fucking do it?
You know what, you just said Blades there, and that reminded me that I downloaded that game back when it was in the beta last year, whatever it was. Played it loads for a bit, and then I haven't touched it for months. So I thought, I'm just going to load that up on my phone and have a look and see what's going on there.
Oh, you have your 12 Pro now, don't you?
I do have my 12 Pro now, and I have to say, it is, I mean, I say this every year, but it is the most beautiful phone I've ever owned, and it's just wonderful. But it's that thing where the thing that iPhones are good at is that they do everything really well. So it's hard to kind of compare it to one before because it still does things really well. Like it's quite hard to be like, oh, it's better for any reason. It's faster and it looks nice. And the photos are real good. I'll give it that.
I think that's the issue now with phones, though, isn't it? Because like I'm looking at upgrading mine this month, like literally on Black Friday, is when my phone's up. And I was saying to Dan before, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I would keep this Sony Xperia that I've got because I love it so much, but Oliver just was like, "You're not putting this on? Well, fuck you, throw your phone on the floor and smash it." And that's what happened. So I'm like, I can't have another like forever using this screen. It's just horrendous. So I need to upgrade it because it's like 200 quid or something to replace the screen. So I'm like, for an extra 100 quid, I might as well just get a new phone over the 2-year period. But I'm torn between, do I go for a Android now or do I go for the Apple and go for an iPhone? But
iPhone.
I don't. There's certain things I love about the Android that I'm not a massive fan of Apple and vice versa. Like I know how good the photos and stuff look on the Pro, But Ash has got the Samsung S20, and the photos on that still look glorious as well. So I'm like, I like the ease of the iPhone and just the simplicity of it, but you can't do as much as what you can do on the Android. And I think I like that. I like the freedom of the Android more than I like the linking of everything on the Apple phones.
You say that, but I'm currently looking at Blades on my iPhone 12 Pro, and it looks a lot like Skyrim on an Xbox One.
How does it look compared to Skyrim on Switch?
It's about 3 times better.
Well, it's like, do you remember when Infinity Blades came out on the iPhone? I think on the 3G, and like everyone was like, "Oh my god, that's console level
Unreal
quality."
Engine on an iPhone. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many games now that I can play on my phone that I'm just like, damn, this actually looks so much nice. Like that Genshin Impact, which literally looks like Breath of the Wild, and it plays like Breath of the Wild, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And that's a free mobile game, which you can also play on the consoles, because it's just a free game to dick about on. But if you haven't tried it on your phones, it plays gorgeous on the Android. I know on the Apple it plays nice as well, but apparently it's a bit more jaggedy and rougher on the iPhone compared to the Android, apparently. But yeah, I don't know, unless you jailbreak the iPhone and make it easier to do your ringtones and put your music on and that sort of stuff. Like I love the Android for just being able to drag and drop and just put it in and be like, yeah, set that as that. Yeah, that's perfect for that.
I was going to say jailbreak your iPhone. I'm like, Reg, what year is this?
Can you not do that anymore?
Don't think so, but I'm willing to see you have a go.
You don't need to. I've never missed anything. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the ease of downloading stuff off onto the Android phone is nicer than doing it on the
ease of downloading stuff that you haven't got through official means. I think you mean because the App Store that was the start of it. The App Store started exactly what the Play Store does, but so there's no easier or more difficult on one or the other.
I didn't mean that. I just mean stuff like if you've got videos just on Facebook or your phone, stuff like that. Literally just hold.
Or you've got a ringtone. You want to put a ringtone on your phone. Download,
if you want to do that,
as ringtone, done.
Just copy the file onto your Android and be like, there you go, I want that. Or download the song from wherever. You just be like, save that as ringtone. It's so quick and easy, and like just the file access I find a lot easier on the Android than I do on the iPhone. But it's just me because I'm used to the Android, so going back over to an Apple.
I completely agree.
Confuse me, but I'm torn because all phones are so fucking expensive now. I'm just like, right, I need to choose a good one, and I'm torn.
It is hard. I mean, the upside, I think that with the thing that I get, and this is, look, I worked for Apple for 10 years, right? So I'm not. Don't just think that I'm just some fanboy, because I have honest thoughts about them too.
I'm a diehard fanboy who was there for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, but I don't work for them anymore, so they don't owe them shit. But it's that with an iPhone, even if you get the cheapest iPhone, and I know they're not cheap. I mean that relatively. You're getting a really good handset. That's the difference. Like you can go out and buy yourself a 500 quid Android handset, and it's a piece of shit. You might buy one for 1,000 quid, and it's really good. I'm not saying there aren't really good Android phones, because I know there are. But if you go out and spend 500 quid, you are going to get one that is subpar. Whereas if you go out and get an iPhone SE or something, and you spend 400 or 500, even an iPhone 11 or one that's a year or two old, you're getting a really good phone. So I think that's the kind of thing. If you're thinking about budget-wise, it really depends on if you're going to spend sort of top of the range money. Then S20 or Pixel 5 or whatever, they're good handsets. If you're into that ecosystem. But if you're looking to spend sort of 500-600 quid, you put that into an iPhone and you're going to get something good for your money. But I buy an iPhone every year, even though my phone is the best phone I've ever had, and I replace it with the next best phone I've ever had. So I'm no one to ask about which phone you definitely should get, because I just get the next iPhone that comes out, because I'm that kind of guy. I had the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it was the best phone I'd ever seen. And I'm like, I'll get a new one. Why? What's wrong with me? But
I understand after 2 years. Thank you. Yeah. But still, if that's your jam, that's your jam. Isn't it?
That's my cross to bear. And also my wife's.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, because Ash upgrades her phone just like a month or two before me. So because she's now got the S20, I'm like, right, I need the S20 Pro or Ultra or Plus or something that's better than that, just because I need to be a little bit better. Well, it's that, and I don't want the same phone as Ash. I want something different. I think that's my thing. Better as well, yes. Better and different. She's just like, oh, no, it's better. I'm like, I know I want something better than you, because I've always said that. But it used to be stick with the Sony phones, and just because I used to be able to remote play and stuff, because I've got multiple accounts on my PlayStation now, I can't remote play, which is frustrating as hell. So now it opens up the world of opportunities to me as what do I do with it? And I think that's what's exciting.
I was thinking the only loyal Sony smartphone customers are Reg and James Bond.
And one of them is dead.
Oh yeah, Sean Connery, we didn't mention.
Just have, thankfully, just before we wrap it up, before we go underground, he beat us to it.
Mm.
Oh, brutal.
Did you know that the last
Nope, Dan won't.
film that Sean... Do you not hear any of that?
You went really robotic, and did you? And that was it.
Okay. Let me say that again. You can edit that, right, Reg? Cool. Do you...
I'm sure he's doing it on purpose now.
No, he was.
He's literally doing it on purpose.
I gone again.
Do you have a button that as soon as you want to say something, you just go like a robot?
Well, no, but the microphone obviously switches to me when I go to talk. So I'm just uploading the video. So let me stop doing that. Got Netflix on in the living room. I've got Skype going, and I'm uploading the video. So hold on. Is that better?
A switch on cloud would be no good for you then.
No, well, not right this second, no. So, is that better? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Have you guys got any idea what the last film Sean Connery made was?
No.
Okay. You might think it was recent, but he retired from making films.
Was it the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
It was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Does that make you go, oh, okay, that makes sense?
Well, I didn't realize. I thought he must have done something since then, because that was what,
Me too.
25 years ago or something?
Me too. But then when obviously the news came out, I put up a sort of a little post as a bit of a tribute to him, and I went to grab some shots of him from different movies, and I was on IMDb, and yeah, apart from a voiceover he did in some film a couple of years ago, which I think was very brief. That is the last film he made.
Wow.
So,
for the record, I quite like that film, even though it's universally considered to be garbage.
Yeah, it was a weird one. It had its moments. I didn't hate it, but it was definitely not what it should have been.
No.
It's got such great source material and loads of source material as well. There's a good few books, but it was just, no, it was typical Hollywood taking something and ruining it. But,
oh, well, you know, Hollywood.
There you go. But yeah, that was sad news.
It was indeed.
Yeah.
It was very sad.
It's a downer to end on, but you know.
Yeah, well, there was two things that I wanted to mention, but you guys came off it. We were in the middle of talking about Alton Towers and how Top Gear were driving around the theme park in electric cars. It was like an electric car race in a place where you can't charge your electric car.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that just stupid? So yeah, when because I'm a Merlin Pass holder, that was all over their social media going, hey, Top Gear have been at the Alton Towers, and literally 90% of the comments were like, well, how did they charge the cars? Because we've been at you for years about getting electric chargers, and they are still not there yet. They're at Chessington, they're at Legoland, they're at Thorpe Park, but there's none at Alton Towers, bizarrely. And the other thing is, you were mentioning, Reg, about your offspring's birthday, little Oliver. It's the 5th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Firework night, bonfire night. are you going to try and pretend, and how long are you going to pretend for, that all the fireworks are in honor of his birthday?
Yeah, we've had this conversation. We think we're going to try and do it for as long as we possibly can.
Yeah. It's just tell him about Santa. Just tell him Santa's not real. It's fine, because you can only really concentrate on one lie with the child. Otherwise, you'll mess him up.
Was it the lies or was it the child?
The child.
Okay.
Ah.
Because he'll just think everything you tell him is just lies. So
It is going to be, to be honest with you.
fair enough.
I'm not going to say no to that.
Oh dear.
But unfortunately, though, this year, I don't think we're going to be getting any fireworks. Well,
There'll be fireworks.
Loads of people have been setting off fireworks now.
Yeah,
I'm like,
at the very minimum, the fireworks are going to sell out in the next couple of days because everyone's going to be running to the shops to get everything they need.
The thing is,
Toilet
that's the reason
paper,
why
fireworks.
they put the fucking thing in place on the 5th of November to stop people having get-togethers. And now we're like, hey, let's all do firework night.
Yeah. Yeah, well, firework night,
ridiculous.
you can still, you've got to stand miles away from the fireworks, so you always have a bit of distance between people, so it's possible. But I guarantee there'll be people just going, let's just have fireworks in our garden.
Yeah.
Just
Well, we put up a post. In fact, it was this time last year, thanking you for the Google Home Welcome to the World present.
Right.
Because of the fireworks, we put the music on a little bit louder for him to drown out the sound of the fireworks and stuff. So he'd actually sleep and it worked like a charm. So we're like, thank
There
you.
we go.
It's been probably the most used present he's ever had. Like,
Excellent.
he absolutely loves and now he's a little bit older now. When we go upstairs, we start doing tasks and stuff with him. We'll just be like, hey, Google, play this, whatever. And he starts like proper little dancing and he absolutely loves it. And he's so confused why it starts speaking to him and stuff. It's just brilliant watching the realization of stuff happening.
It's very cute.
Awesome.
Just a quick update for those wondering how much the game Blades has changed since I last played it. It has changed so much that I don't know if I remember how to play it. So much. It's like a completely different game. It's insane.
I might have to reinstall it. I was the same as you. I had it in the beta.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, this looks cool. Walked down 2 things and opened up a crypt door and was like, that's me. And I never went back to it. So now I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. So I might have to have a look. And I think on that note, I might go and download it now.
Indeed.
So I say
Treat
goodbye.
yourself, Reg.
Yeah, you best finish the podcast first because we don't want you to go all robotic because you're downloading a game at the same time.
But my internet's on Credible.
Well, mine is as well, but there seems to be a lot going on tonight for some reason.
Mine is fair to middling at best. I could be dragging you all down.
There's only one way to find out. Join us next week when only the strongest will survive.
Bye, everyone.
See you. Bye.